Welcome to part 5 of Let's Play Slaves of the Abyss by Paul Mason and Steve Williams. At the end of the last part, I was about to read paragraph 180. Here we go. The troll soon disappears off into the undergrowth, still dragging the sapling behind it. You splash your face with the river water and prepare to carry on, refreshed by your rest. Turn to 381. There is a faint path which follows the river bank, and you make your way along it. After a short while, it plunges back into the forest. If you have 3 numbers written on your adventure sheet, turn to the paragraph whose number is given by the 3 digits. Otherwise, if you have the number 2 on your adventure sheet, add the number 3 and turn to 268. If you have the number 3, then add 2 and turn to 388. Okay, so the numbers we have written on our adventure sheet are 3, 2 and 1. There they are. So we're turning to 321. Here we are. As you press on, you notice clusters of purple fungus growing on either side of the path. You have to pick your way carefully along the path to avoid disturbing them in case they carry poisonous spores. You begin to remember tales told of southern forests in which a hapless adventurer can lose himself in a maze of shifting trackways, wandering in circles until death from hunger and exhaustion catches up with him. Ahead of you, the trail divides into 2. You may take the trail which slopes downward slightly and to the left, turn to 12, or try the other which leads off to the right, turn to 21. Okay, we're going to take the one that slopes downward slightly and to the left and turn to 12. You forge ahead further into the heart of the forest. The trees seem to close in on you, crowding out the sunlight. The forest floor is now carpeted with rotting leaves, and you find yourself making moderate progress on this springy turf. The atmosphere is close and humid, and you begin to wheeze with the effort. Walking in this weather is exhausting. Lose 1 point of stamina as the hours of trudging pass. Okay, so that's 1 point of stamina gone. Puts me down to 7. Let's have some provisions though, so that puts me back up to 11. Okay, finally you come upon a fork. If you take the right hand path, turn to 366. If you take the left hand path, turn to 273. Okay, we're going to take the right hand path and turn to 366. You are beginning to lose all hope of ever finding your... I'll start again. You are beginning to lose all hope of ever finding your way out of this shifting maze of pathways when the trees ahead thin out and the trail leads into a large clearing. Add 1 luck point and tick off a time box. Puts me up to 10 luck points, but we have another time box ticked off, so up to 13 now. Before you is one of the strangest dwelling places you have seen. I'll start again. Before you is one of the strangest dwelling places you have seen. A crude mud hut sitting proudly on 4 spindly legs 20 feet off the ground. There are windows in its walls, but they are too high up for you to see inside. There is no sign of a door, even though you walk all the way round the hut. If you walk under the hut, turn to 254. If you try to climb its legs, turn to 202. If you wait to see what happens, turn to 145. Okay, we're going to walk under the hut and turn to 254. As you step between the narrow legs, you notice an opening in the floor of the hut above you. You are just wondering how on earth you are going to make it up there when the hut begins to lower, the spindly legs bending. You position yourself directly under the opening as the hut descends towards you. Turn to 372. Inside the hut there is none of the clutter you have come to expect from the dwelling places of magical folk. There is no furniture of any kind, no books or scrolls, not even a single vial of potion. Through the windows set in the smooth walls you can look out into the forest. Squatting in the middle of the floor is an old woman dressed in a rough shift. Her hands are raised above her head, and between them you see a shimmering vision floating in the air. In a swirling void hangs a wall of cells full of dishevelled prisoners. She looks you in the eyes and speaks. A vision from your future, perhaps. Look closely. Look hard at the slaves of the abyss. Their souls are enthralled to its master, and you must rescue them before it is too late. This much I will tell you. If you wish for more, you must pay for it. Can you speak my name? Do you say enthemesis, whatever, turn to 50. Aletheia, turn to 80. Albadur, turn to 101. Or I cannot, turn to 350. And there she is. We are going to say Aletheia and turn to 80. Now the vision disappears. The woman claps her hands and smiles. You are bright for all your ragged looks. It seems destiny has guided you this far, so I must play my part in its design. Many trials lie before you, and your enemy is not easily vanquished. But Bythos has fears, and you may be his nemesis. Enthemesis has gone on ahead of you, and his aid will be invaluable. If you have Sige's Pomander, turn to 295. If you do not, turn to 114. Okay, we do have Sige's Pomander. It's right there. So we are going to turn to 295. That heady mash of herbs you carry does more than you may think, says the woman. You will know of its sleep-stealing properties, I warrant, but its powers on this plane are as nothing compared to those it holds in the abyss. Eaten in that mystic region, it will protect you from the Master's crystal breath. Eaten here, it will turn your stomach. That is all. You are very lucky to have such a gift. The Par, Mayet, and Teth herbs are extremely rare. As she speaks, you feel a soft weight upon your shoulders. You turn your head to find yourself staring into the eyes of a serpent. You shudder and automatically grab for it, but it is too fast for you. In an instant, its thick coils are wrapped around your neck. Meet Caduceus, says the woman. Make a note of the names of the herbs in order on your adventure sheet and turn to 307. Okay, Par, Mayet, and Teth. Pomander herbs. Par, Mayeth, Par, Mayeth, and what was the other one? No, Mayet, and Teth. Are they capitalised? Yes, they are. I put math. Whoops. Mayet, there we go. And Teth, that was the one. New line. Okay. Okay, and turn to 307, which is just over here. There we go. The best companion of all is he, loyal yet independent, she says. You smile uncomfortably, praying that Caduceus will soon find something else around which to wrap himself. Alethea continues. The plague which is upon this land is spread not by rats. She raises her arms above her head once more and conjures another vision. It is a swirling cloud of huge black hornets. Now the vision disappears and she speaks again. These parasites can steal a man's spirit with their stings, banishing it to the abyss and leaving his body a slave to evil. And what warrior can fight off foes so tiny? She pauses as if deep in thought, then begins to create another vision. There is one way they can be defeated. The untainted leaf of the jira tree may be burnt to produce a fragrant smoke that is fatal to these soul stealers. A young jira grows in the forest. But as the vision forms, her face drops and she lets out a gasp of surprise. A pile of loose soil marks the spot where a tree has been uprooted. Turn to 282. Okay, so let's just write down that we need the jira tree. So we need the jira tree. There we go. Okay, turn to 282. Alethea is despondent, but you remember the troll you saw carrying a sapling by the banks of the river. Quickly, you describe the tree to her, and she confirms that it is indeed the jira. You must go at once and rescue the leaves, she says. I control the paths of the shifting forest. Follow the trail, and you will reach the river. When you have the leaves, the path will lead you safely back to the glade where you left your horse. Be sure you never return to this place. I will not be so welcoming a second time. You hurry from the hut and along the only path leading out of the clearing. Minutes later, you reach the river at the spot where you saw the troll. You find his clumsy footprints in the soft mud and follow them into the forest. A little way in, you come upon him crouching by a large hole in the ground, vainly trying to poke the sapling into it. If you shot a crossbow bolt at the troll when you saw him earlier, turn to 269. If not, turn to 122. Okay, we did not shoot a crossbow bolt at him, so we're going to turn to 122. The troll looks round cautiously as you approach, waiting for you to act. He doesn't seem hostile. He is more concerned with rooting out whatever he has trapped in the hole. He hasn't had much success yet, probably because his tiny brain hasn't thought of stripping the branches from the sapling, so it keeps catching on the edges of the hole. If you attack him, turn to 6. If you suggest that he strip the leaves off his tree, turn to 345. Yeah, that should not have an S at the end of that verb there because it's subjunctive. Okay, we're going to suggest that he strip the leaves off his tree and turn to 345. Okay, the troll looks first at you. I'll start again. The troll looks first at you, then at the sapling, then at you again. His brow creases with effort as he ponders your suggestions suspiciously. Finally, he grunts and begins to rip the branches from the sapling, flinging them all around. You race round after them, plucking the leaves and stuffing them in your backpack. The troll, meanwhile, uses his much-improved tool to lever a small, spiny creature out of the hole. He snatches his prey up greedily and rams it whole into his drooling mouth. A moment later, he lets out a gurgling howl of pain. Tearing at his throat maniacally, he leaps up and down. Then he catches sight of you again. You trick me, he croaks, and leaps to the attack. Troll, skill 7, stamina 9. If you wish, you may escape after one attack round. Turn to 248. If you defeat the troll, turn to 60. Okay, so Troll 7-9. Let's do some battle. So, yes, Troll 7-9. Okay, so is that what it was called? Yep, 7-9. Okay, so my skill is 12. So 7 plus 3 is 10. I get 22. So 10 to 22. Puts them down to 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. I get 17. So 12 to 17. Seven plus 6 is 13. I get 20. So 13 to 20. Seven plus 11 is 18. I get 19. So 18 to 19. Oops. Whoopsie daisy. There we go. 7 plus 11 is 18. I get 24. And that's instant death as well because I got the double. So that's 18 to 24. But it's useless because that was the last hit I needed anyway. Anyway, so that's the end of that. Yeah, so that's the end of Mr. Troll. And we didn't need to escape. Anyway, so if you defeat the troll, turn to 60. So off we go. Okay. You have solved the troll's indigestion problem quite effectively. He lies dead at your feet. Giving him no further thought, you make your way back to the trail which runs along the riverbank. Turn to 133. Okay, I just, I need to put down that I have the Jira leaves, don't I? So I stuffed them in my pocket, didn't I? Okay. The path follows the river downstream for some way before turning into the trees. Very soon you are back at the glade with the mighty oak and pleased to see your horse still safely tethered, munching contentedly at the grass. You mount up and spur her along the path and out of the forest, glad to be away from the trees and their treacherous pathways. After several minutes, you look back and are astonished to see a sparkling blue lake where the forest should be. Far off in its midst, a tiny hut rises above the waters, supported by its familiar spindly legs. Alethea has many ways of discouraging unwelcome visitors to her realm, it seems. Now you have a weapon. It is time to confront the vast horde alone. Turn to 325. You turn your horse back towards the huge black army. Tick off a time box. A brief ride brings you within sight of it, and you watch helplessly as it engulfs a small town in the valley below. Amid the multitude, a palanquin is borne aloft by willing hands, and above it hangs a pulsing black cloud. If you follow the army at a distance, turn to 70. If you ride down the palanquin, turn to 368. If you have Jira leaves and wish to prepare them now, turn to 11. Okay, we have Jira leaves and wish to prepare them now, so we're turning to 11. You tear a strip of cloth from your breeches and tip the leaves onto it. Chopping a small branch from a nearby tree, you wrap the leaf-filled cloth round one end and bind it tight. If you then decide to light the Jira torch, turn to 34. If you ride down to meet the army with it unlit, turn to 368. Okay, we're going to light the Jira torch and turn to 34. You strike a spark from your tinderbox onto the torch so that the cloth begins to smoulder. Soon the acrid fumes of the Jira are wafting from it. With your weapon prepared, you ride forth. Turn to 368. You spur your horse down towards the horde, trying to quell your rising fears. It is vast, and a foul stench wafts from it. As you near the bottom of the slope, you pass a dark cave entrance. Then you approach the horde. They take no notice of you, but the dark cloud above the palanquin begins to move in your direction, picking up speed. If you have a Jira torch prepared, turn to 138. Otherwise, turn to 113. Okay, we do have one prepared. So we're turning to 138. Have you lit your Jira torch yet? If so, turn to 199. If not, turn to 171. Okay, we have lit it, so we're turning to 199. Now, the cloud of black hornets swirls around you, and you curse as the breeze picks up, dissipating the Jira smoke. The hornets are closing in on you. If you flee back up the hillside, turn to 386. If you make for the river, which runs along the valley to your right, turn to 42. If you make for the cave entrance you passed, turn to 106. Okay, we're going to make for the cave entrance that we passed, and there are the hornets. So we're turning to 106. Luckily, the cave mouth is large enough to take both you and your horse, but a rude shock awaits you within. A pathetic caveman, clutching a large bone, leaps up to strike you as you enter, knocking the Jira torch from your hand. You draw your sword and attack. Caveman, skill 7, stamina 7. If you defeat him within 5 attack rounds, turn to 144. If you are still fighting at the end of 5 attack rounds, turn to 181. Okay, I have it on good authority that we need to defeat him within 5 attack rounds, otherwise it's game over. So 7-7. Okay, so my skill is 12, sorry, and his is 7. So 7 plus 5 is 12. Mine is 18. So 12 to 18, I win. Puts them down to 5. Okay, 7 plus 5 is 12. I get 18. So 12 to 18 again. Seven plus 4 is 11. I get 15. So 11 to 15. Puts them down to 1. That's 3 attack rounds. 7 plus 5 is 12. I get 21. So 12 to 21. And that means we defeated him within 5 attack rounds. So we did it in 4. So that means it is not game over. Anyway, yeah, so we're turning to 144. You snatch up the extinguished Jira torch and set about relighting it. It is smouldering once more as the first hornets gather in the entrance to the cave. You rush to the back of the cave and watch as the cloud swarms towards you. For a moment you fear that the smoke is not harming the hornets. Then they begin to fall. Soon the cave floor is littered with dead and dying bodies. When you are certain that it is safe once more, you ride out and down towards the horde. Turn to 235. You dismount and face the multitude of blank-eyed peasants as bravely as you can. Several of them set down the palanquin they bear, and from it steps a richly dressed man, his face deeply scored, his eyes burning with malevolence. His silent horde makes no move towards you, but the man gestures them to advance, his movements calm and deliberate. He speaks. You'll pay for the slaughter of my winged servants. You'll pay with your life. Before you stands the unsmiling general of this warped army. Calamir's fate lies in your hands. If you have the Reaver's bottle and wish to show it, turn to 55. Otherwise, if you know the spitting fly and wish to use it, turn to 260, or you may attack him, turn to 65. And there he is. Okay, do we have the Reaver's bottle? Yes, we do. There it is, the Reaver's bottle. Okay, so we're going to Yeah, we're going to show the Reaver's bottle and turn to 55. As you take the fish-shaped bottle out of your pack, your opponent shrinks back. He stretches his hand out towards you and moans, "No, no, not that!" You ignore his pleas and uncork the bottle. There is a sound like a faint chuckle from within, and the once proud commander of the army dissolves into helpless, crazed laughter. If you know the spitting fly and wish to use it, turn to 255. If you wish to draw your sword and attack him, turn to 324. We are going to use the spitting fly, and we wish to use it, so we're turning to 255. He is a sitting target. Convulsed with laughter, he can do nothing to dodge the blade which flies from your hands. It catches him in the belly, and he is still laughing as he starts to topple. Turn to 302. The slave master crashes to the ground, his body shattering as if made of china. From the shards emerges a wisp of black smoke, which grows and twists into the shape of the man you just slew. He smiles confidently and drifts towards you. His arms encircle you and lift you off the ground. His blurred, smoky features are close to your face, and only his eyes retain their sharpness. "I am Bythos, master of the abyss," he says defiantly. "Though you have destroyed my earthly shell, yet I live on. Calamea is still mine, taken from within. You will not rob me of victory. I have the spirits of these people in thrall. They will remain trapped in the abyss for eternity." His smoky form dissipates, and you fall to the ground. Around you stand the people of Calamea, empty and unmoving. You can do nothing for them. Turn to 238. You turn dejectedly back to your horse, but stagger as you feel something coiling round your leg. It is a large snake. Angrily, you raise your sword to cut it down. Before you can strike, the snake speaks softly. "Don't you recognize me? I am Caduceus. Bythos has fled to the abyss. You must follow him there if you wish to save these people, for Enthemesis has failed. The river in this valley flows underground and passes through a cavern in which there is a gateway to that region. Go now, lose no time." He slithers away, and you hurry over to the river. Using a rotting log as a makeshift raft, you are soon racing with the current. Turn to 89. The river leads into a tunnel in the side of a mountain, and you are swept into darkness. After a short while, the river sweeps round a bend, and you are washed up on a rocky shelf, which is worn smooth by the pounding water. As you lie there, sodden and panting, you take a look at your surroundings. A guttering torch has been driven into a crevice nearby, and by its light you see that, once round the bend, the river runs beneath an arch. Iron bars are set into the arch, blocking entry. Behind you, leading from the rocky shelf, is a dark tunnel with light flickering along its walls. If you re-enter the water and examine the bars, turn to 277. If you investigate the tunnel, turn to 362. Okay, we are going to investigate the tunnel and turn to 362. You set out, treading carefully down the passage until finally you arrive at a fierce wall of fire which fully blocks it. If you go back to the river and investigate the bars, turn to 277. If you dive through the flames, turn to 157. Okay, we're going to dive through the flames and turn to 157. You steel yourself and leap through. You feel no heat and realise that the wall was merely an illusion. You land in a cramped chamber, surprising 4 silver-skinned humanoids. They are Mercurons, well armed and equipped for adventuring. As you burst into the room, 3 of them are struggling with a small iron-bound door, while the 4th is standing nearby. If you attack immediately, turn to 195. If you wait for them to react, turn to 253. Okay, we're going to wait for them to react and turn to 253, and there they are. None of the Mercerons has seen you enter the room. You realise that 3 of them are holding the door shut while the 4th is intoning a spell. A fiery glow is spreading from his fingers. Then he notices you and pauses, his face struck by panic. Yelechnia Pipfen, says a voice in your head. If you attack the Merceron, turn to 173. If you run to the door, turn to 48. Okay, we're going to run to the door and turn to 48. And that is where we are going to end the video. So I'll just put 48 and unread. And I will end the video there. So in the next part, we'll be wondering what we're doing after that. After we run to the door, whatever, and I should be able to complete the game in the next part as well. After I do this, I've decided I'm going to do the first Steve Jackson sorcery book, so look forward to that one. I've managed to find some PDFs that I can use. I also have the spell book as well, so I can refer to that too. Anyway, so in the next part I'll be able to complete the game. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.